I'm Ian Pearson, I'm an employment lawyer at Amicus Commercial, and today I'm going to give you just 15 minutes on social media law. Of course, I can't deal with social media law in 15 minutes, so I'm just going to pick a few topics just to heighten your awareness of some of the issues concerning social media and some of the pitfalls you need to avoid. Some people hate social media, some people really embrace it. Google. 97% of all searches now go through Google. Google uses 200 indicators as part of the way that it ranks your website. And most of those are to do with keywords. So if, for example, you want employment lawyer Taunton, then I will have the words employment lawyer Taunton on my website so that those people come to me automatically. So you need keyword-rich sites, and all the people that are doing websites here will tell you exactly that. The way that Google works, it works a bit like us, really. It's about referrals. So Google loves people referring into the website. Now, Google, being its own planet, prefers a lot of those referrals to come from its own companies. For example, YouTube's owned by Google, and it's the second most searched piece of social media. And what we're hearing, and the people that design websites will probably shout me down, is that about 60% of the referrals, those links in, really need to come from social media, which creates its own problems because social media is moving so quickly that the law is not catching up with it, and UK law certainly isn't. A lot of the issues and the way that the systems are set up come from America, and America has much more open laws than us. So social media is going to become more and more and more important when it comes to pushing your site up Google. So I'm going to start talking about just 4 subjects. I'm going to start with pictures. Every picture on the internet is owned by someone. So if you see a nice picture and you want to take that and put it onto your blog, or you want to put it onto your Facebook page, or you want to put it onto Pinterest. Pinterest is an online pin board where you can post interesting pictures. Now, all those pictures belong to someone. People haven't given you permission for you to use those pictures. Just because they're on the internet doesn't mean you've got permission to use them, although lots of people think you have. Now, the only pictures, the only material that you can actually legally use in the UK are from the television channels. And they are that you can record BBC, so you can record Doctor Who on a Saturday, and then you can watch it again on a Monday, so you can time shift. And that's the only time that you are allowed to use copyrighted material without the owner's permission. Everything else is probably unlawful. Most of the time it doesn't make much difference. Pinterest don't really care a damn. They're an American outfit, and these are their terms and conditions. Don't post porn or spam or be a jerk to other pinners. This is the quality of their legal content. So normally people don't really care about it, but some people do. So if you start nicking iStock photographs, then they're going to come down like a ton of bricks. And Getty Images, if you search for an image on Google Images and you download an image and it comes from Getty Images, they have a piece of coding behind their photographs and their pictures, and they do searches every day for those bits of coding. And if you've used their picture without getting permission, you will get a letter from a firm of solicitors, and the majority of people pay up. There are lots, however, of free pictures on the internet, and when we use our blogs, or when we use pictures for our blogs, we're using freedigitalphotos.net. There's loads available, but as long as you give them the credit, they will give you basically the whole range of all those business photographs of stick men and graphs and whatever, and networking photographs for free as long as you give them a credit. So there we are. So that's the first point. Next point, cyberbullying. Now, we probably don't understand this, and it probably doesn't worry us. If someone sends us a text message and says we're a jerk or an idiot, then they're probably right. However, the youngsters today are finding it harder and harder to deal with being bullied online. And this could be any number of things. So cyberbullying can't be just being abusive to people, saying you are an idiot. It can also be exclusion, so you can be excluding people from it. And we're seeing a lot of stress claims that stem from cyberbullying. It can happen not just in the workplace, but it can happen outside the workplace. And if you, as an employer, you know about it and you're not doing anything about it, then you might be what's called vicariously liable for that particular offence. So, very importantly, and a plug for Amicus Commercial here, you should be thinking about having an e-policy, an internet policy, a cyberbullying policy in order to protect yourself from such potential problems. We've done a podcast on this. I'm recording this at the moment, but every time we do a talk, we do a little podcast on it. Richard did a very, very interesting one about speeding a couple of weeks ago, and that's on our website. So if you've got one of those very clever phones with a QR reader on it, if you scan that, then you'll be able to listen to that on the car on the way home. Pre-employment screening. Now, this is really interesting. Because of the internet, you can do a lot of screening prior to someone joining you. So you want to employ me, Ian Pearson. So before you get me into the interview, type in Ian Pearson into the website. You'll search Ian Pearson, you'll find I'm on LinkedIn, I've got a Twitter account, I've got a Facebook page, so you look to see what I'm doing. But I'm female, I'm 27, and I've just announced on Twitter and Facebook I'm pregnant. Now, you would never ask someone if they're pregnant at an interview, and you certainly wouldn't necessarily let that be part and parcel of deciding whether or not you're going to take them on. But if you see that they are pregnant and you're an employer, small employer, then probably you're going to say, I don't want to employ you because you're going to cost me. Now, that's fine. Who's going to find out? Apart from the fact you've done a LinkedIn search and you've done a Facebook search. So at the interview, you'll be asking questions that you could only ask if you'd actually done a background check. And then the young 27-year-old says, actually, the reason you're not employing me is because I'm pregnant. And you say, well, that's not the reason. She said, well, you did the background checks. You knew that I've said that. What's the reason you didn't choose me? And then you have to backtrack all the way. So you have to be very, very careful about how you use background social media checks. Who should screen? And what I'm suggesting is that you use someone like an HR professional to do your screening for you, who will check to make sure that that person is suitable for the job, but won't pass on anything to you that is going to cause you embarrassment at a later date. Moving on swiftly, disciplining and dismissing. I'm seeing a lot of Facebook dismissals and Facebook disciplinaries going on at the moment. So you've got an employee, never turns up on a Monday morning, bad back, migraine, whatever it is. And so you do a search on the internet and you find this particular entry. Fantastic weekend, great band at the Palace Bridgewater. So there you have evidence of that individual not having a migraine or a bad back on the Monday morning, but actually overindulging. Now, on those occasions, you can use that to discipline them and actually say to them, right, if you do it again, then we're going to sack you. You go through the correct procedures, but it gives you the opportunity to deal with those sorts of issues. So we move on to our second example. What an awful day. Richard was in a foul mood, shouting all the time, blaming everybody for his own mistakes. It's about work. But this is a cry for help. This is someone who is not enjoying their job, got all the indicators that they may be suffering from stress or potentially depression. And I would, if I saw this on someone's social media Facebook page, I would be dealing with it as a sort of grievance and actually addressing those issues. The third example here is very, very different. Looking for another job, perhaps Pardo's will have me. www.amicuscommercial.co.uk stinks with a picture of our website there. Now, this is a classic example of that breakdown of trust and confidence between the parties. This is an act of gross misconduct. It contains all the elements of it being quite nasty, and probably if I saw that, I would be advising a client that they could go for a gross misconduct dismissal. It's got everything there. It mentions the name of solicitors. It's got the link to their website and a copy of the website. So on that occasion, you could probably dismiss for gross misconduct. There we are. If you do want to follow us, we do a blog, an Amicus Commercial blog, and in that we actually push the boundaries of what the law is doing at the moment by asking all those difficult questions. And one of those difficult questions we are asking is the subject of our next seminar, which is here on Thursday the 30th of May at 7:45 at Brunwell Hall. Costs £12, another networking event. Equality, why are you breaking the law? And in essence, we're talking about all those issues surrounding things like maternity leave and why so many women coming back from having babies are being made redundant and being sacked. And it's a half-hour talk, and we will then have half an hour's worth of discussion afterwards. I've got nothing more to say. I've